Now, the rest of the story.
Well, gauges are good. Well, of course I'm not supposed to do that. A little context quick before we get going. We got 2 balers down here. We got the crone right there, the deer down there, 1 rake. 2 people that can run really today. Got me and Ryan. Dad isn't available. Ideally this worked best with 2 balers running and this rake running. I got people on my phone I can call to run this if I really wanted to. I mean, I got probably 3. The problem is down here, it's not really a place you want to just set somebody loose that has never run this rake before, or a rake this big, or hardly at all, or if at all. And the valley down here is a pretty steep learning curve. I mean, if we're just doing the bottom, like if I did the 60 feet around the outside and then just do the main bodies of them, it'd probably be all right. But it's too, it's just too risky, to be honest. It's not like I don't trust the people to do it, but I don't really want accidents, especially at this point in the game. We're down to the last 100 plus acres of hay. It's all cut. The cutting machines are already cleaned up. It's supposed to get up to 86 degrees today, which is great. But as you can see, we had a pretty good dew last night. Maybe the camera isn't picking that up, but all the water that was sitting on the cab is making its way down. And the kind of hay operator or rake operator that I am, typically, it really helps when you're the baler operator. You take that knowledge from what you'd like to see, how you want the fields raked, and how you'd rake yourself. And we're just going to take it nice and easy, open everything up this first time around. The rake is all the way open. I got the back end. I'm going to narrow it up really quick here just to see if I like that. Speed up a little bit so we get a decent job of raking. We do have a little bit of some wet stuff coming up around there, but blue sky and easily the best drying conditions we've had so far this year. But it's just kind of odd to say that, but yeah, this is probably the best raking conditions we've had. Blue sky, sunny. The only thing that would make it a little bit more awesome is we had just a little bit of a breeze. So this stuff was already kind of right when we cut it. This is the second cut on this field. As you can see, I got it, the back end narrowed up as much as I can, and it's actually kind of making a little bit of a mess back there because it's not wide enough to let all the material out. So I'm going to go through and, oops, I'm trying to remember where all the hydraulics are. I'm going to spread it out all the way, which when it comes to me doing this, I prefer having the rake spread out all the way open. I want a wider windrow for taking up the full width of the pickup, the baler pickup, and a little bit wider. Hopefully, maybe, possibly, the sun can hit it. The wind, if we ever do get any wind, can hit it and help dry it out. Let the stuff lay for about an hour, which sounds like that's about when Ryan's going to be back, because he ran and got the parts for the combine. And it's going to be a pretty hectic next couple months. It might not be a full 2 months of being hectic, but we should be combining. We could be combining. We probably should be. 80-degree weather and sunshine like this, the beans getting too dry is a definite concern to, it sounds like, everybody. So, oh well, I can't control it. At this point, I just want to get all this made in the next 2 days and And this stuff is actually 60 days old since we cut it. We took first cut off of it. So the big question is going forward is, I mean, how many bales is it going to produce? Maybe that coon's going to make tighter bales, heavier bales. Because everything, for the most part, that I've been throwing out the deer baler has been coming back at about 1,300. Well, let's say 1,200 to 1,400 pounds. So 1,300 is a pretty good average. The last load of hay that I took out, when I say last load, but the last 5 weeks of hay that I've been selling has been averaging about 1,300 pounds, 1,350. So not a whole lot to complain about there, but give me 5 minutes and I'll find something to complain about. Tedding's done. This will be my only raking video. And honestly, I'll get you a baling video. That shouldn't be too bad. Just try and decide how I want to do this. Pick it up, go back across. I think we're going to do exactly that. A little bit of factors going into raking right now. If you're wondering why I'm doing this, is because the sun's coming from east to west. This is north to south right here. And any of the shaded spots currently, they aren't drying. I still got the dew on them, which if we didn't have a very heavy dew, I had every intention of like raking as soon as I could. And you know, here I are. The duals are on the 4640 because it's going to end up on either tillage duty or grain cart duty sooner than later. And the way it's shaping up with raking like this, the duals in the 46 on some of these hills down here, all of these hills down here, aren't going to hurt it at all. It's actually more of a benefit. Plus the fact that I have those soft spots down there that the duals will help the tractor float a little bit better. Or at least I'm about to find out. Oops. That's the downside too, is it takes a little bit for those wheels to drop. So, yeah, I'm stressed. Because there's 6 different things I want to be doing right now. And believe it or not, none of them include making hay. I want this stuff made. If I can get this stuff done right, I'm looking at, you know, a fair pile of money. I don't want to put a number on it because a number is a moving number. Not because I'm trying to be vague as far as what the stuff could be worth. It boils down to how heavy the bales are, how many bales I get, and what I can get them sold for. And everything I've been selling so far has been over $100 a ton, but the hay has been lighter. I started this year out figuring for 1,500 pound bales because that's what I've done in the past. But I think I'm getting away from that, letting the stuff get super overripe, and I'm getting lighter bales of better material that's going for less, but I'm getting more hay, and there's a lot of factors that goes into it. This stuff, it's that finer second cut material. It is right, if you want to say that, but those windrows are looking pretty wicked awesome. All the inputs I put in are proving basically everything I've put on down here. I mean, granted, as you're watching it grow and whatnot, I mean, oh man, am I really getting my money back out of this? There's not much there, yada, 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 yada. You know, as farmers, you have to be an ever optimist to be a farmer, but at the same time, you're going to sit and judge every single thing you do. And this stuff, the way I managed it, I did go through, we dropped the cutter bars down on both machines down, basically so they're cutting closer than everybody's yard lawnmower. And basically the deer was cutting right above dirt, which I think led to a lot of my tedding headaches. The reason I say that is because I had to run the tedder that much closer to the ground where I was losing more teeth. because the teeth were impacting the ground more, to try to get a better job of tedding. I don't know, it's just part of the game we play. And if you guys watch me planting, I do this a lot when I'm planting. I like to actually come up into the headlands and 30-foot planter, 30-foot rake, well, just about a 30-foot rake, where I actually have gotten to where I like doing the pull up into the headlands like you just saw me do, and back up, just like you saw me do. So I got to turn the air on because it's supposed to be hot the next 2 days, hopefully. The goal is 200 bales minimum. I think I'm hoping it's gonna make a healthy run for 300, and I'm thinking, like, realistically, to put a number on it, I'll know more by the end of today, depending on how everything yields. 270, which to me means it made a healthy run towards 300 to me, which if I get 200 bales, I'm content. Might not be happy anymore compared to what I would have been 2 weeks ago if I could have gotten 200 bales, but I got about 30 different things going on in my head, and I'm feeling pretty damn good about what this is looking like. I mean, the smaller, finer stuff, it's going to compress more. So yeah, the windrows do look heavier, but we're probably looking at a bale and a quarter per windrow per pass. So I'm seeing enough green coming up around. If that sun could cook it for a little bit longer, I'm tempted to tell Ryan to wait till noon and then get him going, and I'll run until 4 or 5 o'clock, jump in the 76 and bail like I'm getting shot at. Because for the amount of dew we're getting overnight, I don't want to leave these windrows like this overnight, because even the stuff that's laying out flat, you pick it up when I come down to check it, and the dew coming up from the ground is still in the material. So it's just, I'm gonna shut you guys off. I'll turn you back on here a little bit later. I gotta focus on what I'm doing. I gotta get some acres covered. So I'll get you guys caught up here. And this is where the duals really come in nice. The reason I say that is not that I'm being less careless or more careless, or my brain's fried, so stressors working on me right now. With the duals on this hilly ground, and I haven't gone out and done the bottom yet. That's probably gonna be the next day or two, the way things are going. I shouldn't really say that because I'm getting exactly what I want. So it's currently daytime, 3:19 in the afternoon, and Ryan's in the 47-acre field baling still, which I can't see over there through the trees. This is a 30-acre field that I am just about done on. We're getting into the rougher spots, so I can't go as fast, but the straight back and forth stuff looks nice. I got the rake widened out as wide as I can, plus I got the back end as wide as I can, because I actually want as wide a windrows as possible, so they take up the full width of the pickup, so you're not having to drive drunk when you're baling as much. This stuff, this grass, there's still actually a fair amount there. I don't know what the light, fine grass stuff is. I'm not an expert on hay. I'm not an expert on grass. All I know is that the material that I have is worth something. I know just enough about it to be dangerous. The Reed Canary produces more tonnage, but with all the extra foo-foo stuff I put on that a lot of people probably wouldn't even dare do, actually getting a lot more production out of this than I'm thinking anyone, probably including the landowners, think. Because this field I'm in currently, this is the third cutting off of this, and I'm looking at getting another 40 bales off of it, which isn't a lot, but for what the ground is and what it's capable of doing, another 40 bales for a third cutting is actually pretty impressive. Granted, I've made pretty much no secret about it. I've been building up the soils down here, and it's paying off. The big stressors I got right now actually has more to do with the fact the amount of hay that I have to do yet. I wish I was done by now, I mean weeks ago. And the reason for that is we weren't combining for another 2 weeks last year when I was making this down here. So I mean, I didn't have the stressor of I should have been harvesting a week and a half ago. And soybeans are getting overly dry with this 80-degree weather and sunshine, which is great for making hay. But the problem is the soybeans are getting dry to where they get down to that 9-10% range, and then you really start to lose money. Because ideally you want it that 12 to 13% moisture range, and you get down to that 8, 9, 10% range, you're losing a lot of bushels. We'll just go that route. So I don't know. It's getting underneath my skin. Probably a lot more than it should. Granted, depending on who you are, maybe it's not underneath my skin enough. Because yeah, I'm looking at, I don't know what the yield totals are going to be by the end of the day. I'll maybe post that here. The stuff is performing. We're making 5-foot wide by 5-foot tall round bales. That coon baler and the deer baler are set up the same. And they're both throwing out some beautiful bales. I only ran 8 through, but those 8 bales that I made was off of going around the outside round in that 47-acre field that Ryan's currently working on. I did the outside round because, like this one and that field right next to me, the outside rounds aren't dry. They still got some greenness to them. Getting them picked up off the ground in a windrow so the sun can get them, the heat can get to them, the wind, albeit there's like no wind, which is probably good for the soybeans, but I'm grateful with what we got right now. It's just that the outside rounds, I want to hit them with the deer baler because I have the hay preservative on it, and I'm putting on a rather lethal dose of preservative. I'm not putting it on with the heavy rate nozzles, the moderate rate nozzles, which that stuff works. I've completely convinced myself that as long as you don't have your head completely too far up your ass, you can't really see what you're doing, understand what you're doing. But the preservative, it does what it's advertised to do. You're not putting it on dripping, green, wet, freshly cut hay. It does its job. Even the moderately damp, the material that's kind of damp, like that second cut that I made, which is why I put the second rate nozzles in, I put on a heavier rate on my second cut. A lot of that stuff was right around 20% moisture, and the warmest any of it got was 97 degrees, and that's through 2 to 3 weeks after the fact. We busted one of them open because cows need feed, and you can't tell. The stuff looks beautiful, and like I said, I think I'm falling ass backwards into a good thing, at least on the hay stuff, and then I might be getting taken out at the knees because I'm here dealing with making hay when we should be harvesting. That's gambling. It's farming. You understand the ins and outs of it. I mean, even as a farmer, you understand that, but it still can piss you off. Which I don't think a lot of people out in La La Land really seem to grasp. At least the dipshits that sit and give me grief over what I should and shouldn't be doing. I don't know, this rake, this Rhino rake, granted, it's not like it's my job to advertise this thing at all, but I love it. I absolutely love this thing. The 4640 is a good match for it. The duals don't bother it at all. The duals actually are what allowing me to actually increase my efficiency or my capacity per hour as far as acres I'm able to cover. Because with the duals on that hilly stuff over there, granted, I was spraying that with the singles on, and granted, my mom saw the tracks after the fact when she came down to help me take that flat tire off that night, because it was right on top of the hill of those steep waterways. And Mom was not necessarily quite impressed when she saw what I was doing, but I don't know, like I said, if you don't have your head up your ass and you understand what your equipment is capable of doing, you can handle doing that kind of stuff. You just got to take your time and be a dumbass. So like this right here, this is another example of the waterways and the hills that we deal with down here. The valley has the steepest and the flattest ground that we run, all wrapped up in one nice little package. One nice, I'm not even going to say this is a little farm, because honestly, I think with all of my hard work and determination and bullheadedness, I've been able to free up a few more acres that Mother Nature may very well come back and take back next year, but I'm a greedy individual and I'm going to farm everything that I'm capable of farming, because I've said before, this is a flat rate rental agreement, and I've said that when I first rented this place, the landlord's instructions or words were exactly, if you can cut it, you can have it. Well, I took that to heart, and the fact that I did the outside round on that 47 acre field, and I got 8 bales off of that. I mean, we're talking 5x5 round bales. They're 5 feet tall, and you can feel them coming out the back end. I mean, it's not like they're heavy, like they're wet. 13.6% across hay that Ryan and I had both made with each different baler. So 13% is, I'm happy with that. 15% is where I'm happiest, you know, but anything below 15 is good too. 8%, not so much. That stuff is that first cut at 8%, that was miserable to bale. I could not get that to feed to save my life. So the intentions are, and I'm not going to be filming any more of it tonight. Tomorrow, the next video you guys get out of me is going to be a baling video, maybe a hay hauling video, getting the stuff hauled in, and then I'm going to try to get you guys involved a little bit with harvesting beans, corn, hauling grain, whatever else. But mentally prepare yourself, guys. My days are numbered. I have people on here that watch religiously. I appreciate every single stinking one of you. Every positive comment I get, that's great. I mean, don't panic. I'm not going to quit posting like today or tomorrow. I'm probably not even going to quit posting completely, but I think the rate at which I'm posting is going to drop off even more. Maybe I'll put more time and energy into the few videos that I do post, but the posting on a semi-regular basis is almost going to come to a stop. Can't do it. I got too many irons in the fire, and I'd rather spend time with Merlina and Brett. There's too many other channels out there anymore. It took away a lot of the fun out of it. I mean, we're farmers. Farmers were our own worst enemy. We see somebody else making money doing something. Hey, I can do that. And then they do it, and then that just adds to the pool of people that are contributing to it. And the problem is, I don't enjoy going home and watching other people farm. I'm not one of those people. I farm all day. I have no interest in watching somebody else farm. I watch Northern Farmer and Noel F. That's it. I've seen random channel videos from different people, just because like they're auto playing up at the farm for the like mom and dad. They'll turn the YouTube on, and then it auto plays to these like different obscure channels, because if you have a history of watching ag channels, and then it just auto plays random shit. And granted, a lot of these channels they have good content in their own right, but it's a cookie cutter design. Every channel, it's the same thing, just in a different package. And even for me, I don't do the action videos anymore. I don't do the overviews. Maybe I should be, but I don't have the time for it. I mean, I got tens of thousands of dollars wrapped up in just my hay operation alone. And do you think that sounds terrible? And holy shit, that's a lot of money. I'm actually turning a profit this year with all the money I'm putting into it. It's gambling. It's high risk, high rewards. But this isn't paying. I mean, it's just not. I mean, to sit and maybe vent a little bit is nice, but you'll know when the day comes that I'll be cutting back or something, because it's probably going to be a video called literally the end of the story, which I got Herschel, great guy. I mean, I talk to him sporadically, talk to Tim here now and then. It's just, I've met a lot of cool people, but let's face it, it's like watching a TV show. It's what it is. It's like watching a TV show. Early on, did really good, had a lot of subscribers, was growing pretty great. And then once COVID hit, the pandemic hit, I went from making over 40 bucks a day down to 10 last year, to the day that the pandemic and stuff hit. Literally, I was cruising right along last year. That's why my videos dropped off. I mean, when you're getting paid, let's face it, it's money. Money talks. And for the amount of time, energy, effort, and stress, and the yelling at I get from my wife because I'm on my computer so much when I was posting like I was, I mean, at least the income was coming from it to justify it. And you go from making that kind of money, I mean, that was good money. It was a good side hustle. Just call it what it is. It was my trading money. Down to maybe 10 bucks, 12 bucks a day. I mean, and I peaked at that. After it plummeted, I didn't make over 12 bucks a day last year. And I know you probably get in trouble, or you shouldn't be talking about this kind of stuff, but the channel isn't growing. And like I said, it's like a sitcom. After a few seasons, it gets repetitive. And there's only so many things I can do to keep things interesting around here. Keep having kids. Problem is, I don't want my kids on here. I see other channels that have their whole, little family on here. I've thought about it and then kicked it around, and I really don't want that for my kids. I don't want my kids out there. There's a couple of videos where I have Relina with me, but that was last year. Generally for this year, she hasn't been on there. And the large reason why I do this, and maybe I've stuck it out as long as I have, is because my grandpa, he used to talk all the time. I mean, this is pretty much for the viewers that stick around to the end of these long videos, but you're going to get some honest talk from me. Grandpa, growing up, he would sit and talk about growing up and his early years of farming. And I mean, granted, Dale, I'm sure you've caught some of it, and all of my uncles and everybody that's really known my grandpa to any real degree would say that grandpa he could started, he'd talk for 2 or 3 hours, and about different people and different things, and he'd sit and Earl Leeser, Carl Leeser, and he'd sit and he'd tell you about him until you acknowledge like you knew him. And what I'm really planning on doing is I'm going to go through and end up downloading all these videos and save them to multiple places, and in 20-30 years from now, Hopefully I'm still around. I'll be able to look back and watch these videos and reminisce on, hopefully these aren't the better times or the only good old days I ever have, but, you know, like Grandpa, being able to sit back and reminisce about a part of your life that you lived. I mean, I don't know. I brought that up to Dad the other day. It really bugs me. I never really talked to Grandma Keene that much. And like he said, it's not really our fault as grandkids and that. Grandma just didn't talk. But, I don't know, it was kind of a gut check the other day. I just thought of that out of nowhere, how, I mean, to actually, a real words, a real conversation with Grandma, you never really got that. It's, she'd contribute to a conversation here and there, back towards the end of her days when she had the dementia, and when she snapped at Grandpa that one day, and you could have heard a pin drop in the milk house when she said that, because all of us were like, oh damn, did Grandma really just say that? And she didn't swear or nothing. She just, I know, and she just, you know, it was snippy, it was snappy, and everybody that was in there, I mean, everybody felt it, but it was more, it wasn't like a, oh my gosh, it was just like, wow, Grandma actually said that, you know. Now, I don't remember much of my childhood. I mean, the older you get, the less you remember. I mean, you talk to my dad, my grandpa. Grandpa was great at that. I mean, his mind was sharp till the day he died, and I don't remember a lot of the this and that's anymore. I mean, I got too much going on in my head right now that, I mean, I don't remember every little thing, and certain bits and pieces of my childhood are slipping away from me, where it's not like I'm having memory issues, it's just that it's called living in the present so much that you don't really hang on to the past like you used to. Which, getting back to why I'm doing the YouTube and why I've done it for as long as I have, is I'm really doing it for something to look back on. I mean, to be kind of bleak and grim about it too, is I'm also doing it just in case I ever get killed or I die, and my kids can at least look back and at least have something about their dad they can look back on. I mean, not planning on dying anytime soon, but farming is one of the most dangerous occupations out there, and I've had some close calls, and that 3-point sprayer was one of them, which is part of the reason why I hate that fucking thing. But it's just something to kind of have there, that my kids can even look back and see how I used to farm. Because Grandpa, he always used to sit and talk about how he used to farm, and you know, you always had to sit and imagine it in your head about what it was like for him, his family, and growing up. But you know, Grandpa's had a few close calls too. He rolled a tractor up, the H, I think it was. Rolled a tractor up on top of him, landed right on top of him. I think the only thing that saved him was the steering wheel, and he crawled out from under it. And then I walked up to the neighbor's place, because it was in the middle of winter that he did it. But I don't know. Not trying to depress everybody on that stuff, but with the rest of the story, what this channel is, it's real farming, it's actual farming. It's not glossed up. I mean, as you can tell, as of late, I'm letting the swear words fly because it's true. It's honest. I'm not trying to put on a show. So, you guys are going to get more videos in the rest of this year yet. I promise you I'm going to keep posting for the rest of this year yet. And then probably going into next year, I'm just going to cut back. I mean, cut back doesn't mean I'm going to quit altogether. I'm just going to try to cut back. I'll post at the end of this video what we actually end up for bales at the end of the day. I'm gonna rake until it's 3:40. It's 3:40. I'm gonna rake until 4:30, and then what I'm gonna end up doing, which that's not doing me any good, is it? these windrows, for being third cut, are actually heavy enough that it's really not doing me any good doubling them up, because first, second, and the last cut of last year, we got a video out there of us going through and making these windrows and then driving down it and doubling them up, and I'm not going to bother. There's a lot of material here. There really is. I'm aiming for 200, realistically 270. My goal is 300 plus. We'll see. I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you what we get. So, until next time, which there will be a next time, take care, take it easy, keep in touch. Stay safe, guys. I'll talk to you later.